yeah, exhausted from all that rushing around. Yeah, I just thought, let's just go live. I'll probably delete this video. As some of you know, I kind of delete videos anyway. If you know, if I'm up for a few minutes and there's not really any kind of interaction, I'll delete and just start the whole thing again. Anyway, I don't know who's around or what's happening. Just check something here and then we'll get cracking. Okay. I've called this low brow, high brow, and furrowed brow because I don't know, it just came to mind. I want to show some different kind of music today. Not necessarily the usual stuff, but you know, let's just go for a completely different feel. I thought we'd just show some low brow as well. You know, it depends. I mean, can music really be low brow and high brow? Of course it can. Like everything else in life, we can be snobs and we can look down on things. And how are you, John? Yeah, it's your favorite. It's your famous opening. Your opening gambit. It's quite hard to come back to that. It's like, what's all this for? Just the usual, you know, nothing radical or different. I let Robert Sound Strange know that I'm going live in a few minutes, and I know he saw the thing on Instagram, so we'll see. I just thought I'm going to go, as I say, low brow, high brow, and forward brow. How are you anyway, John? You all right? We're starting off with some serious low brow. I mean, could we get much lower? Zentrix, Ghostbusters. Yes, that Ghostbusters, but done in a thrash metal style. I mean, it was a bit of a thing at the time, wasn't it? Anthrax did it, you know, like Judge Dredd and stuff. There's a lot of that kind of stuff, sort of cartoon element crept into the thrash metal, the thrash metal stuff, and this was no exception. It's just a throwaway track. I mean, it's not the sort of thing, you know, you listen to very often. The B-side, just great thrash metal if you're into that kind of thing. Which, of course, you know, I am. I'm not hugely into it, but I know what I like when I hear it. And I have a certain number of bands. There's a record by a band called Deliverance I really want to get hold of. But yeah, it's Slime Time. Fantastic. But the sort of thing, that's very lowbrow. I'm just going lowbrow to start with. This could be considered lowbrow. Some people might consider it, you know, well, maybe we'll see. Sweet's Fanny Adams. I think this is a good album. I know a lot of people think this is probably their best. I know they did one in America, very similar track listing as a different cover, same sort of tracks. But this is probably where that pinnacle, where they get to write most of the stuff, and it's just heavy rocking music, and you know, none the worse for it for that. Sometimes you just gotta, you know, you just need a bit of glam rock. We're not talking, you know, the Gary Glitter glam rock, but we're talking for glam heavy rock. Yeah, and it is a good album. It really is a good album. Yeah, it's the best, I'm sure it is. Great record. I mean, Set Me Free is great. They're all really good songs on here. Sweet FA, AC/DC. You know, I mean, there's a couple. The AC/DC and Peppermint Twist, of course, were sort of covers, and the AC/DC was written for them by their Chin Chapman people. But at the end of the day, Heartbreak Today is a great track. Rebel Rouser. I mean, they're really good songs. And like I say, sometimes you just got to crank it up and play this kind of stuff. I'm just randomly pulling as usual, you know. You see, it's just a pile of stuff here, and I haven't made any kind of sense of it at all. So there's no sort of theme or flow But then that's kind of usual for these videos. I could just go through one at a time, but yeah, this is quite a nice little find today. And this is not something I'd normally listen to, but I've never actually seen this album. Oh, I have seen it, but I've never sort of picked it up. This is from 1991, which is obviously the time when things were sort of vinyl was disappearing. Great stuff. I just love that track. I mean, who doesn't like that track, Wicked Game? His voice is just phenomenal. Who doesn't like it? So I saw it and I thought, you know what? I'm going to have that. What was it, £1? I'm paying £1 for it. And if I play it and I don't like it, it'll just go. Because actually people are paying good money for this. Oh, I hope, or maybe you could lay down in bed, Rob, and I don't know what the situation is at your house. Of course, I remember the settee and stuff. Yeah, I haven't actually heard this all the way through, as I say. I only really know the Wicked Game song, but so I had to pick it up. It's in fantastic condition. Well, why not? If I hate it, I'll throw it. Pick this up as well. Now, the light always goes funny with certain records. I saw her when she first appeared on the scene, when she first came over here, at Norwich Arts Centre in about 1990, 1991, something like that. And although I liked her first single at the time, it was the thing, the girls in our gang, I'll call it a gang, the girls in our kind of crew, they were kind of hippie types, the red henna hair that people used to have at that time, etc. They were that kind of girl. So this really appealed to them. Now, I remember watching her thinking, what a pretentious load of rubbish. I mean, she was just sitting at the piano, I think she was barefoot, and she was kicking back and up and down a lot, and doing all these big moves, but ultimately the songs were just, yeah. So what? She had one or two, there's a couple of nice ones. But, I suppose when you first arrive on the scene and you're young and you have an act. And I remember when I first saw PJ Harvey when she first came over. And, she walked onto the stage, this scrawny little woman, and with this tiny little silver handbag. Put the silver handbag down by the side of her and then just started thrashing it with guitar. Unfortunately, it was a really tinny sort of sound. And it just took away any kind of power which she might have had, But it was, again, you're young, you come on, you've got a kind of act, you've got a sort of style. And yeah, exactly. It's not the greatest thing, but I thought, this actually sells quite well. So I'll probably just pass that one on. Yeah, I'm just randomly here. Rob showed Black Sabbath's first album earlier, so I just thought I'm going to show. I think I've shown it before, but for me, this and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath are the better ones. My favourites, anyway. Not about being better, but I just prefer the songs. I prefer that when they start tinkering with kind of effects and pianos, and for me, this has got some great stuff. Hole in the Sky, Megalomania, The Writ. I showed it recently, but I show it again because, hey, why not? I don't really like to repeat, but sometimes you have to. Thrill of it all, just wonderful, wonderful album. I used to like the when I first got into them way back when, I was just a boy and got into Paranoid, and that was the greatest hits album at the time. I mean, greatest hits for Black Sabbath. And I think it had a Bosch picture on the front, like a lot of things, There's a really weird selection. It does have a lot to answer for. The accent mainly. Yeah, we were considering at one point moving over to Malvern and the Worcester, the Malvern Hills. It's surprising how many Birmingham accents you hear, and I've picked up the London accent being here for 20 years. And mixed in with the Suffolk accent I did have, it's not a good combo. And if I go to that area of the world, wow, who knows what's going to happen? I don't think anyone will be able to understand me. I certainly wouldn't be able to understand myself. Anyway, I'll just, again, it's a random thing, just show a few bits and bobs. People are always going on, oof, that's me. It's the strong Brummie accent, you know what I mean. People are always showing this record and saying how great it is, and I found this a few months ago now, you know where. But when I first heard it, I thought, I don't know, it's just, what is this? It's not really doing it for me at all. It's not pleasing my ear, I was expecting some instant classic, a bit like everyone's favourite Astral Weeks. I was expecting some sort of monumental thing, and it hasn't really materialised. However, when I listened to it again, I started to engage and started to kind of click with it, and it really does have something about it. I mean, it's quite hard to put your finger on. I mean, obviously it's country, but it's not offensively too sort of twangy country, if you like. It's just a really lovely songs, very good lyrics, and I love the album from start to finish. Not really a bad number on it, actually. It's a nice little album, that, and I'm glad I've got it. All right, now this is a bit Merit Hemmingsen and Folk Music Gruppen. This actually is another one of those. It says printed in Sweden, but I mean, I'll just quickly show it rather than yap on. It looks bad. Personally, I think it looks this looks interesting. I think the front is semi-interesting, but she really, there's a little bit of Michaela Strachan going on there, which may not be a bad thing, but it's kind of off-putting seeing her. And this album is absolutely fantastic. There's only a couple of duffers on this, and that's where she's singing. Most of it's instrumental, and it's traditional folk, and it's Scandinavian folk, and the links with our own kind of folk heritage are really quite marked. A really good record. I mean, just quality stuff all the way through. There's a lot of little tracks, short pieces, traditional tunes on here. Really good. I mean, one person is playing a bass, one has got a violin, and one has got a baseball bat. I'm sure that's meant to be for some sort of baran or drum or something, but that's a little bit more serious. But this is great if you like any kind of traditional folk, and also anything like Fairport Convention, stuff like that. They've got some original stuff on here as well. Really good, strong album. This came with that collection of really weird sort of Scandinavian, Hungarian, and all sorts of other stuff I picked up recently. Very good and well worth checking that out. Merit Hemmingsen and Folk Music Gruppen. Yeah. It's just random, Showing Family. I don't know why. It was just that. I always think with Family, they, apart from their first album, they didn't do a perfect album. Their first is obviously in a class of its own, really. It's completely different. After that, they kind of veered more into the proggy kind of realms, and never really kind of hit a 5-star record after that. There were some great tracks on every single one of those, but there were also, 2 or 3 throwaway numbers, a bit of pub rock almost, and never quite made the kind of heights that they could have made, which was a shame, a real shame, actually. I mean, if you get the best of Family, that's the best way to do it, really. But even then, they haven't chosen the best tracks. In the best of Family, I don't think it's even the track from this album, which is kind of crazy, because this does have 2 or 3 of the better tracks. It does have an insert, and of course, this is the kind of stuff as collectors, you have to have it all. best tracks really, Between Blue and Me, Save Some for Thee, that's a great track. This is from 1971. Crinkly Grin, Blind and Burning Bridges. Great stuff. But, yeah, a lot of you would know this anyway. I'm just kind of racing through. I'm aware of Rob's back. I'm aware that I don't want to bore everyone. The other day, in the last video, or one before, I held up a picture of Rock Bottom, and someone had drawn on the insert and written his own kind of words. Now, this also came from the same collection, and the guy here has written these little quips and quotes and stories and all sorts on here. I mean, he's put here, I don't usually write all over the inside covers of albums, but at the moment, vile, depraved and utterly sick substances are wending their way around my Quasimodo-ish squat unhealthy frame, speeding and exhausting my cells and senses. Sulfate-induced thoughts spill forth from my mind, so I rise from my chair and my DIY incense-making kit and speed over to my humble record collection and select this album. Then I switch on my cheap stereo and activate this piece of black plastic, stick on my cans and open my window, sit on the ledge, to the astonishment of the neighbours sitting in their ridiculous gardens. I sit there, close my eyes and thrill to Uncle Frank and his cohorts making ecstatic sounds all over the inside of my brain. Signed, the lazy, overweight bum that I am, sure enough. Just fantastic. And he's written sort of other bits here. Why does FZ bother to go to sleep when he could just as easily pick up his head and create another meisterwork of the caliber of this album and push it into the array, into the army, he's corrected things, of ever open minds, forever juicing to Frankie's musical fantasies. I mean, it's just, I could read the other, well, yeah, why not? What an excellent fluid chunk of plasticized music this is, so much so that I have to write my thoughts on the inside sleeve just to say this music is excellent, and so are all of Mr. Zappa's musician compadres. Signed, Herr Himmler. Yeah, the guy's completely off it. Hey, there's a couple of others I could read, but I don't know. You're probably going to go, what the hell? Shut up now, mate. A couple of people have gone. Yeah, but that's their loss. I mean, this is a good album. This is probably perhaps the pick of this period. I mean, I may be going out on a limb there, and people could easily disagree, but consistent all the way through, and no kind of deviation from that nuttiness, which sometimes can get a little bit too much. Great stuff. Very jazz influence as well. I listened to this yesterday. This band is probably the most overlooked of all the progressive bands. I mean, they're sort of symphonic, and but the quality is unbelievable. Hello, how are you doing, Ram? Are you good? It's good to hear from you. Yeah, the quality of this band and their albums. I mean, all right, maybe it's not like Family where their albums are not consistently great. They're very, very good and very strong albums. I mean, the best of is probably the way to go as an intro. It's a quality best of, without one kind of weak song on it. Tracks on here, sublime, Medicine Man is a sublime track. After the Day, Ursula, the Swansea song, I mean, just fragile and beautiful. This is Willie Wolstenholme. He wrote Moonwater, one of the best tracks in another album. He actually committed suicide, I think in 2011. He wrestled with depression and things for years. Such a sad thing. Mel is dead as well. He's died about 56 of heart attack. Great band, and really, I mean, as I say, it's sublime music. They really were quality. And I think this band, I mean, right, I'm going out on a limb. It's Peter Gabriel's birthday, and I put my stuff on Instagram. So I found this amazing thing today. I mean, weirdly, it's the Gabriel era, book and DVD, 2 DVD set. Hi, Christopher. Yeah, it's his birthday today, and I think this band, a better band than this band, of a progressive nature. Anyway, I think so. I mean, in a way, I'm saying that now. I think they're quite different. These are far more kind of classical, if you like, in the way they build their music and their themes. And whereas these guys, I mean, there's a write-up on here about them being from Yorkshire and like, down the pub and all this sort of stuff. And this is the music of the Yorkshire Dales. It's not rude at all, like so completely removed from that. They're like the Wordsworth of, the prog bands of that time. But yeah, I think there should be more love for Barclay James Harvest. As simple as that. Great band. Okay, so we're going lowbrow, highbrow, and furrowed brow. Now, it's up to you where you put this. This is Faust 4. My favourite Faust album. It's light. As soon as you hold this up, the camera goes bananas. Yeah, my favourite Faust album. I think it's where it all comes together. Virgin, of course. The Sad Skinhead, Jennifer, Krautrock. I mean, there's not a bad piece on here, and I love that track. It's a bit of a pain at the end. I remember years and years ago, I did an alternative disco. I set it all up for my friends and all these other people, and I played stuff like Edgar Broughton Band's Why Can't Somebody Love Me from Wassa Wassa and Evil and stuff like those tracks, and played It's a Bit of a Pain. People were going, what is going on? What are you doing? Because, I mean, obviously, it was just crazy. The guitar solo suddenly comes in. No one had any idea that was going to happen because, to me, it's just absolute genius where you've got that tinkly kind of sweet song and then you've got that ripping solo. It's just fuzz kind of distorted solo all over the top of it. I mean, genius. And this is where I think it all comes together. So far, I like. The first album, I must say, I struggle with nowadays. I really do struggle. And the Faust tapes as well, it's not something I can listen to all the way through anymore. Even years ago, I started selecting. But this, you don't have to select. This is quality. I don't know if anyone's... Oh yeah, I hope Rob's still all right. Highbrow, lowbrow, furrowed brow. The Blue Oyster Cult, Tyranny and Mutation. Now, I picked this up a few years ago and I thought, well, I remember having a Blue Oyster Cult album way back when and not liking it at all. Because over time I was into metal and all that, I was a teenager and didn't really connect with that American sound. Yeah, I had this for a long time before I played it. And when I did play it, I couldn't believe how good this record was. I mean, this is a fantastic, fantastic record. I've listened to some other stuff since, but this is probably, for me, I mean, just brilliant. It doesn't really look like much in a way. It looks so it's quite impressive in some ways, but you don't really know what to expect from it. 1973, another year, one of those years which you think, for me is a little bit dodgy in places. But of course, Montrose's first album came out. We put this on Montrose together on Instagram a few weeks ago because I just think they both sit alongside each other really well. The guitar playing on this and the vocals, this is an incredibly good album. Really strong all the way through. Quality stuff. Have you ever heard this band or if you've actually heard this album? But I recommend that. If I mean, I know some of you, and I'm not into that kind of rock sound. I mean, we were talking earlier on about the Sweets Fanny Adams. That's not too far removed in some ways from this. Yeah, well, it's a great record. Highly recommend that. So good. So every time, this is more furrowed brow and highbrow, of course. I always, yes, it's a great, great record. It's so good to see you here, Randall. I hope you're well. Um, yeah, this I always pick up Shostakovich. I always pick up all sorts of classical, but I mean, they're the heavyweights when I see them. This isn't an expensive record to buy. And I know no, is it Ravinsky? I'm pronouncing the M and the R. Not so easy to do. Um, I know that certain conductors and have. I mean, Barshai, for example, he's renowned for one or two of the Shostakovich. What other ones have I got? I've got various different ones, and certain conductors are renowned. I think he's renowned for the 10th. I'm not too sure how renowned he is for the 7th, but I mean, some of these are actually so much longer. Some are, some are long, some are faster, some are slower, some are. But there's something about this guy. There's something about, I don't know, as a kind of feel he gets out of the orchestra, and it's not. I mean, maybe I don't know what it is. There's something within his soul which connects with the music. I don't know what it is, but there's something about this particular conductor that brings Shostakovich to life for me. It's just something maybe more moody and intense in the feel of his music. Yeah, there you go. And we have it from the man who's probably the expert on this stuff. Yeah, he's renowned for Tchaikovsky. There's a few others. I don't know who else this guy Ravinsky, what he's renowned for, but I know there's one or two of these. Maybe you could let me know. As I say, always pick up Shostakovich. Don't really see that much of it nowadays. 2 or 3 years ago, I saw a huge collection, and it was all Shostakovich. And like a plonker, I kind of like, I thought, I'll just pick it up later or something. And then someone else had taken the lot and decimated it. Nowadays, I'm not so. I don't leave anything anymore. If I can help it, I will get it. I will just take it and I'll buy it, and that's it. I'm not faffing about anymore. When I see stuff like that, it's coming home with me. I tend to buy things, even obscure little CDs like this. This is Bartok's Miraculous Mandarin. This is on Hungaraton, well renowned for their vinyl. Wooden Prince, Dance Suite. This is Budapest Philharmonic Orchestra. A couple of different conductors there. Probably fairly easy to get hold of if you're into that kind of thing. But I know Robert's mentioned Miraculous Mandarin, and I've got a vinyl copy of it. I've got a couple actually. And it's a nice piece of music. I quite like that. There we go. Yeah, for example, just pick up everything I see like this. Picked up this rather lovely, probably not very good in classical terms, for the experts. I frown upon that particular one. But I know this particular woman has done some wonderful stuff. Yeah, they will be on CD, on vinyl, yeah. I just pick them up when I find them. Hold on. I tend to pick this kind of thing up because I think some of these are really just very, lovely productions, produced really well. They have a quality. The sound is always good. I can't, I know there are certain performances which are better than others, and I've heard some of them, and you can definitely tell that some are better than others. I tend to pick things up like this. Giolini, Beethoven, and Schubert. I quite like, again, a Shostakovich. I haven't seen this one before. It's recorded in 2001. Symphony No. 7 again. Leningrad. That's Parsifal. I always pick up Wagner, Mahler, but all sorts of other stuff. Fidelio, all sorts of bits and bobs. The problem is, of course, it's the time to listen to this stuff. What I will show while I think of it. Next week, Redelius is releasing his autobiography, simply entitled The Book. Now, this is a fantastic compilation. And it sounds like it's going to be really good. I know it's released, and I think it's on the website in German. He's actually going to release it in English. And of course, he was in Cluster, etc., etc. And worked with Brian Eno, of course. It's still going strong. I think he must be about 90 now, certainly late 80s, 90s. He was actually, it's got his life story, and it talks about the fact that he was conscripted into the Hitler Youth, and all sorts of different things that happened in his life. It's an amazing story. So if I can, I'm going to pick that up. But of course, highly recommend it. His stuff is, I think it's always good. One or two pieces on here. If the later pieces aren't so good, I think it's because of the synthesizers. Sometimes the sounds are not as good. We all have analog synths, and sometimes when it gets a little bit too digital, it gets a bit clean, a little bit, not so nice. A bit like Poppleville. There was a period later where some of it sounded a little bit weaker. But that was partly just the production and the instruments. The music's good, but it lost something. Another CD before I flip back to LP. This was a really nice find. Roy Harper. This is quite a hard thing to find, actually. He's live at Royal Festival Hall, 2001. He's got people, John Renbourn and David Bedford, on here making guest appearances. Rick Sanders. Sophisticated Beggar is on here. Flycatcher, The Green Man, Another Day, Commune, Same Old Rock, Hallucinating Light, 2 CD thing. Very nice little find. I haven't listened to it yet, so I can't say what it sounds like, but I should imagine it'll be good. Although I tend to kind of steer clear of later stuff like that, because I can, some people are just, I think he's still got the integrity and the kind of, he's not just going to be like playing all the old hits like Rolling Stones or something, just going through the motions every day. He's still actually writing and recording and doing things. He's got a bit more integrity. Is this the greatest album from 1975? I mean, were there any great albums in 1975? I don't know. But I think this is a very, very good album. It's not an album which I'd listened to much down the years. But again, I put it on the other day and I thought, flip on heck, this is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It's just good rock. And of course, they had that hideous tragedy where the singer was killed, the guitarist was killed, the guitarist's sister was killed. Oh dear. This is why I say this stuff. I like the fact that you had to get back to the keyboard just for that one. Obviously I'm joking. But I think for the rock albums of the year, this has got to be up there in the top 10, really. It has to be. I'm not really, it's an opinion. But I think it's a great album. It does tail off slightly at the end of side 2. But I think for me, really strong. And sometimes it's just, as I said earlier with the sweet and stuff, sometimes you just want that kind of gritty, dirty, it's a gritty, dirty kind of, grungy kind of rock sound. And, regardless, the banality of those lyrics is unbelievable, really. But, sometimes you just have to play that. It's just a good time music. This also, Mama's Pride, This is quite a good album, actually. I've never seen it before. Picked it up. I thought, well, it's one of those cheap finds again. I'm just checking the years. I'm feeling that's 75. Yeah, that's 75 as well. Good American rock. As good as for Lynyrd Skynyrd? No. I mean, look at those people on the back. Just love it. It's funny to think I was walking the earth at the same time, and I look back at old pictures of myself, and you see what you're wearing and what everyone else is wearing, and the cars, and the world was so different. The colours of the world, and they're so different. I just love that. I love that kind of sense of nostalgia, but that sense of also like kind of displacement. Like it's hard to believe that you existed at the same time, and that you were walking around in those polyester t-shirts and flared trousers. I remember flared jeans when I was a little boy and stuff. Unbelievable. Right, what else am I going to show you? Yeah, and a similar theme. The Broncos coming home. That again, what a great picture. I'll have to show one bit at a time, I think, because of the light. I'll pull it across. This is a fairly mediocre record. It's Pink Island. 71, I believe. 1970. It's a fairly mediocre record, though. It's, when people are trying to be too sort of, they don't really know where they're going with it. There's some weak sort of songs on here, sort of country tinged songs. But there's a fantastic track on here where they just let rip. The longest track on here. But that's sort of country rock. But that the long track where they just let rip is absolutely phenomenal. It's worth it just for that. But the rest of it is like, yeah, one or two sort of good songs. But I'm keeping it just for that track. Otherwise, it'd probably be potentially down the dump. I know people love it when I say that. Okay. I did pull some other bits and I don't know what I did anyway. This is probably going to be like, some people go, what the hell? This is Lucinda Williams' first album. Now, I saw a copy of this a couple of days ago. It was in mint. And it's like £5. I thought, I'm having that. I turned it over and all the back of the sleeve was all torn. And I thought, forget it. I'm not paying it. I don't really like this album. But I really do like the Change the Locks track. And it was on the program The Affair, and it was used to really good effect, where the jilted woman was sort of sinking into a hairbrush, in front of a mirror and stuff. And it was really used to good effect. And I thought, well, I have to get that track, and that's why I have this. I would like to get it on vinyl, but only when I see it and it's cheap. I'm not going to go out of my way for it. But it is something, again, it's got that kind of country trailer trash kind of feel to it. I suppose, well, there you go, it says it all, really. It's got that kind of gritty, dirty kind of sound. And, it's talking about those sorts of jilted relationships and stuff like that. I quite like it, that song, but the rest, me. Yeah, I'll just show a couple more. This is Life Without Buildings, Any Other City. Now, this has been reissued on vinyl. Yeah, it's quite a difficult thing to find the original. I think this is a fantastic little record. If you've never heard this, I mean, again, I'm going to say it tails a bit. It's the female vocalist, though, on this is unlike anything else. She kind of like does almost like a stream of vocals all the way through over the top of the music, which itself is really quite catchy and interesting. I think it's a good little album. You put it on, you think, what's this? It turns your head, it turns your ear. I think by the end of the end of it, you're like, oh, all right, enough already. But well, that's a personal opinion. I think it can kind of get too much for voice. But when you first hear the first 5 songs, or five or six songs, just sounds fantastic. I think you need to hear this. This is one of those albums you need to hear one side at a time. It's difficult to play the whole thing because of the vocals, but they are very unique. Really, really. I mean, I just find it really quite captivating, and it's hard. You can't just turn it off, until you reach that wall of like, oh, enough already. Great little thing. I'd recommend checking that out. It's a bit different. It's a bit new wave. Yeah, no problem. Let's see. The problem is with this old crappy old camera. Life without buildings, any other city. It's a kind of really boring inside. But definitely ever listen to that. If that's that kind of thing that floats your boat. It's unique. I don't think anything else sounds quite like it. It does sound a bit like The Sound, maybe the band The Sound. A little bit of the instruments sound like that. But yeah, she just sounds very different. Got a punk attitude. But yeah, just something unusual about her. I think they're a Scottish band. Good stuff. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. I think I've kind of raced through, so I'm aware of the time and, etc., etc. And people aren't really saying much. So thank you very much for stopping by. I may delete this. I kind of think that a lot about these live things. People go, oh, whatever, I'll leave them on there and see what happens. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody. And it was a bit of fun. 40 minutes in the afternoon. Hope you're all well and get well soon, Rob. And I'll see you all soon. Cheers.